And since leaving the shore, I've steadily moved further and further west, and I bought a house in Langton. So I'm local. Now, so I work at the University of Auckland. Prior to that, I was a builder. So I went to my mid-30s to university, and now if you stay around long enough, they employ you. If you just make yourself at home. The other spaces that I are involved in entomology is land care research. So I'm a research associate there, have been for about 20 years. I'm also POCAX. There's a short, you've heard POTUS, that's just the American. I'm the president of the Auckland branch of the Entomological Society, and so doing these talks is probably part of my stuff that I have to do, I suppose, for that. But yeah, we meet every month and talk about arthropods and things like that. So I put my title as terrestrial arthropods because even though insects are important, there's other things out there that are just as important and just as interesting as well. And I'm pretty happy to talk about anything like that. So it was good to follow the talk about pest suppression and stuff like that, because I'm going to introduce things that are detrimental to arthropods. So if you don't understand any of the words that I'm using, just let me know, and because I'm going to switch in between invertebrates. So we're going to talk about vertebrates, so what things with backbones, and then vertebrates without backbones, and that's what I'm talking about. And then I interchange with arthropods as well, which is a higher classification as well. So for me, I'm a taxonomist, so I go around naming things. That's my research. And I'm going to introduce the group of beetles that I work on. And so later on in the slide. So yeah, I do have some notes just in case I miss some important information, because I finished writing this talk last night. Had to take a break from grading, which is what I'm actually doing today. But yeah, a few what you say is to read and grade. So that's what we're going back to this talk. Anyway, so rodents, you've heard about rodents. So these are the things that are going to affect any sort of arthropod living in the Waitaki Ranges. Okay, so you've got the rodents, your mustelid and possums. Rodents and possums are omnivorous, so they're eating both insects and plant material. Then your predators, the mustelids. They're all having some sort of impact in our environment. And of course you have other ones as well. You have cats, indiscriminate killers of anything out there. And they do it for fun. Hedgehogs. Oh my god. Hedgehog. When you see a hedgehog, grab your spade and smack it on the head. You'd be doing everybody a favour. Okay? They eat loads of stuff. They're not cute. They're spiky, disease-ridden, spade bait. Okay? Chickens. Oh my god. I shouldn't say that. Oh my gosh. Chickens. They eat everything. And I mean everything. They just hoover it up. And they're omnivorous as well. So yeah, big impact. So this is driving that impact, they know. So mostly negative impacts. I say negative impacts, and mostly because you can't actually quantify what sort of impacts they're having on it. But when you get a reduction of all these things, you see much better forest. So obviously they're having a big impact, and they're having a big, huge impact on our invertebrates, but we don't know what they're doing. We don't have any idea of how we can measure it or quantify it in any real terms. So, yeah, they're the ones. Remember, grab your spade. Okay? I should be speaking to the converted already. You guys are already into it. You're out there killing left, right, centre, except for that pseudo-ecologist. I'm sorry if you're here. We can have a chat later. Okay, I've got to stay in this area, Michelle. Okay, so what are the goals if you're going to reduce pests? So you want to reduce the herbivory, the direct impact on your forest. So you want less competition, more seed set, because you want those seeds growing through, and then higher diversity. Now the thing about being an entomologist is that because insects hang out in the bush, you need to know about the bush as well. So you might think that I just studied insects at university, but I didn't. Almost all my papers are about forest ecology. So I'm into that sort of thing. So you want to, the next thing you want to do is reduce predation, because that's a big factor as well. So you want to, by doing that, you're going to increase invertebrate herbivory. So native, I'm talking about native stuff here. So stick insects, really cool things, the gardens of the forest, wetter, they're omnivorous. You want to increase pollination, moths, native bees, flies. Flies are a big pollinator in our forests. What else do I have to say? And then you want to increase the invertebrate predators, like Nicodema, and that's my study beetle, and a nice picture of that coming up shortly. Cowrie snails as well, which are actually distributed through the Waitakere Ranges, and so they're not always around where you think they're going to be. And then giant centipedes as well. So if you guys have encountered giant centipedes in the garden, then that's an awesome sight. And most people think about insects and invertebrates or arthropods or centipedes as things that don't think or don't have empathy, or they don't think about them as living creatures that are involved in the ecosystem. So a giant centipede, when it lays its eggs, the female lays its eggs, it coils around those eggs and protects those eggs and protects them from other things. So, they show empathy and care towards their eggs and young. So they can be pretty cool. You just have to look at them in a different way. And that's what my job is to do. Encourage it. So if you get all those goals from your suppression of the pests, then those vertebrate pests is what I'm talking about, you'll have mostly positive impacts, because again you can't measure all the cool things that are happening out there. And your goal should be to increase all of the overall diversity and abundance in the native ecosystem that you're trying to bring back. So, living in that urban space, your gardens are going to be all sorts of different things. You might have neighbours and other things in there, but it'll all work out in the end. So, this is what you want to get from sort of those, killing all of those things. And one of the things I talk about with the Department of Conservation is that they've got so good at killing, they've actually forgotten what their role really is, and that's conserving. They're a conservation, but they've got so good at killing everything that they've forgotten how to conserve things as well. And so some of the methods are sort of outdated. A lot of them are focused solely on a single species, which is crazy. And if you think about iwi and how they look at a system, it's a whole And so the Department of Conservation should actually look at the whole system, an ecosystem, rather than just a small part of it. So those are my things about ecosystem and reducing stuff like that. Does anyone have any questions? Yep.
We haven't talked about plant pest control.
Plant pest control?
How does that fit in with your view of the world?
View of the world. Well, plant pests are a huge problem. I know, I live in Langham. Oh, gosh, that is pest city. You know, what do you do about it? Yeah, there's a lot of things. I don't know. It's another thing about public awareness. So thinking about, you know, ridding the world of woolly nightshade. I hate that plant. Wattle, another thing. You know, all those plants are just, yeah. But I'm not talking about that.
No, well, that's what I wondered, how they impact on your invertebrates, particularly on your insect life.
Okay, so that has a real negative impact because often with those sort of plants, they're actually changing the soil as well. So they release halozymes, I think they are. That changes the soil and makes it impossible for other plants to grow in. And so woolly nightshade covers a whole place, and so you're reducing the biodiversity. So they're suppressing the plant biodiversity. So if you don't have a really good biodiversity of the forest, or the ecosystem, then you're not going to get a huge biodiversity or species richness of any of those insects as well. I'm not asking.
On a similar note, what about the use of herbicides and pesticides? How do they affect?
Wow, yeah. Some of them are much better than just using a spade because it's hard work. So pesticides, I don't really like pesticides. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but you can. I do, I've lived in Langham for 14 years. I've only used one can of fly spray in the entire 14 years, and I use that on one of the pests I'm going to show you in a second. But herbicides, yeah, you can take out herbicides, but again, it's a poison. It's obliterating other things as well. So I don't know. It's up to people to decide that. Yo.
Just a question in your role as the president of the Entomology Society. How satisfied are the society that the procedures that are in place for things like the Transcantia beetle, are you satisfied overall that they're robust and the way you go?
The old biocontrol. So that's going okay. We're pretty sure that's it's spreading pretty fast. It's in Langham. It's doing a good job out there.
Yeah, it's into the running.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll, build in population, but it's hard to quantify that as well. Again, as long as it reduces it, chickens are good for Transcantia, though.
Yeah.
They get rid of it all. Right, moving on. Okay, so by removing those vertebrate pests, those things over there on the fireplace, do native invertebrates benefit? Yes, they do. Of course they do, because you've taken away a whole bunch of predators. You've also taken away the herbivores as well that are taking their food. However, because generally we think that taking out all those things is going to return the forest to a good place to live, then the birds are going to come back. And everybody thinks about birds and they go, it's bird. I can get funding if I study birds. If I study insects, I have to basically go out and do a sausage sizzle. Visit you guys.
Down at Bunnings.
Exactly. In fact, what will we sell? That's great. Okay, so what about the invertebrate pests? And now I'm going to go through some invertebrate pests that you can use your pesticide on, Michael.
Wasps.
Yes, our great friends. So, just going through some examples that I see and quite common in the Waikato Ranges. Okay, so vestibular wasps are common in German. They're omnivorous, so they're taking out anything they can get their mandibles on. And so they are bad for everybody. Now, if you have those in your area, then you can kill them. That's what I say. Ballistes, okay, so they take out a huge range of invertebrates as well. They love stick insects, they chop them up and fly them away to the nest. Then we have ballistes, the paper wasps. Okay, so they're mainly targeting Lepidoptera, so that's butterflies and moths larvae. They make a huge impact on those species. And then we have, next thing we have, how's my time going? I want to be yellow card. About 5 minutes. We've got loads of time. No. Okay, mason beetles in New Zealand, mason wasp, but there's these introduced species in there at the moment, so they're the new species, and I noticed it in Langham, it's there. I've been watching them build on my house, their little nests, and I've opened them up, and they're taking out the solticids, which are jumping spiders. So those jumping spiders with the black legs, you see those all the time? They're being annihilated by this new mason wasp.
So how do you tell the difference?
You can't.
That's not the answer.
Yeah.
The wasp on the far left, what do the nests look like? How do you find them?
Oh,
These?
ground.
Okay, yeah, so they're mainly ground nesting.
Brown.
Yeah, so they're mainly ground nesting. They do nest in hollow in the trees and stuff, but generally I find them in the ground. Is something else? Yep.
What's the difference between the wasps?
What's the difference? Okay, good question. These ones are angry and they sting you. These ones here will sting you if you attack their nests.
Yeah.
These ones just sting you any time. And these ones will leave you alone unless you're a spider. Okay? So yeah, you're safe from these guys. You can be stung by these guys and you can be you're more likely to be stung by these guys. I've been stung by them all. 22 times under my wristwatch once. Once. Shocking state of affairs. It flew there. Anyway, moving on. We've got other things that you might not consider pests, but I do. Over there. Oh, honeybee. Everybody's friend. Now that's competing with a whole range of different insects. And so, for me, and I go up and do the devil's advocate at Woodlands Park Primary School where my son goes, and Teo, who's the beekeeper at the school, who's my neighbour, I go and tell, so they learn about pollination and all that sort of stuff, but then I go and talk about a honeybee as a pest. And it's not so good for the ecosystem because it's competing with all of our native pollinators. And so, why should we have honeybees? Because our bees don't make honey, and therefore I like honey. I'm not going to say that I don't. And so honeybees are good in some concepts. But if you have a look at places that don't have honeybees, like Little Barrier Island, if you would get to go out there, it is amazing the insect life out there without that competition for those for nectar and pollen resources. So mainly our native bees are after pollen, but there's a whole range of different insects and other animals out there that feed on nectar. I'll also put exotic ants, there's heaps of those out there, omnivorous. Introduced parasitoids, so these are little micro wasps that are out there going around and feeding on a whole range of different things and parasitising. But you can't see them, so they're out of everyone's mind. So I'm really just concentrating on the things that you guys can see. Yeah.
A couple of years ago, they had a thing on about kill the honeybees, the ecosystem.
Kill the honeybees.
The honeybees. It was sort of like, you know, you can do wasp and you don't do the honeybees. So what was that about?
I think it was people were mistaking the honeybees for wasps, maybe.
Because you're saying take the honeybees out, right?
So,
Kill the honeybees.
no, I don't want you to kill the honeybees.
Oh.
You like
I-
that too much.
Just raise it up.
I'm just aware the awareness. It's just like, for me, the greatest thing that honeybees have done to New Zealand is that they produce manuka honey. And that means that farmers around the countryside no longer cut down manuka because it's the primary succession forest. They leave it there as a cash crop. Amazing. And so now you're getting secondary forests coming out. So for me, they've got positives, there's positives, of course pollination as well, and bumblebees. However, they are, in a natural ecosystem, they are a pest. So, you know, that's just the way it goes. How am I doing with time? I've got lots of more.
Great.
Lot
You're
more.
doing great.
I've got a lot more.
Yeah. We're enjoying that.
Okay, so this is, I've talked about this a little bit just then when those were there, so your fly strip. So these are awareness, changing people's awareness about insects and other things. Okay, we need a sense of wonder when we see them in our house, rather than fright. So grab the camera, not the fly spray. That's one of the big take-home messages in this sort of, you know, understanding our environment and insects' role in it. So I had a great story. When I was staying with my brother and sister-in-law, I heard this horrendous screaming coming from the kitchen. So I ran up there thinking, jeepers, what's going on? And there, on the floor, was this bubbling pool of a whole can of fly spray. I'm like, what the heck? And she is screaming, like, full blast. And I went deaf from there. I'm sure that was part of it. But after the sort of bubbling and foaming subsided, there was this poor little tree winner drowned, completely dead. And I was like, you've got to be joking me. So just changing that sort of awareness and thinking about reaching for that camera, taking a photo of it, sticking it on my naturalist. It's a record, it's a data point. And so that's the things that I'm wanting people to take home. Okay, let's help where we can. So we can remove the paper wasp, as I talked about, poison the old German wasps. Now, generally beekeepers don't like wasps and they'll come and take them out, but the council will come and do that as well, but they take a very long time, especially if it's land home. And so you have to take it into your own, you know, get the powder, go out there rainbow style. You can wear a headband as well, don't wear red though. Or yellow, you know, they go for those. So go out, if you do have a wasp nest and you can't get rid of it, or you want to think it's bad, you can ring me and I'll come and deal with it. And then, third, awareness of some of our native diversity. So now I'm going to, the next few slides are dedicated to things that you might find in the Waitaki Ranges, we will find in the Waitaki Ranges, and things that turn up in my garden at hang home. So I'm going to talk about a few of the species and things that you readily see. So, what's the first one? Oh, that's right. I'll do the right. Here's our friend, the mason wasp again. So generally you guys will have seen this. They love to make a nest. This is their nest here. So the adult feeds on nectar, and so native nectar. So it competes with the honeybee, but not a huge competitor. And then they go and make these, the female goes and makes these lovely nests. And of course, the best place to make these is the curtains, the folds of your curtain. They love the folds of your curtains, so during the summer when they're nice and close and you open up for the winter to preserve the heat, there they are. And so each one of those chambers they're all paralysed, they're not dead, so they're alive. All of those spiders, those are all orb-web spiders. So the native one targets orb-web spiders. And so each one of those chambers has an egg in it, the egg hatches, the larvae feeds upon its lovely paralysed spiders, and then pupates and comes out and is adult. The cycle continues, and so Mason was so cool. They love to make a nest. They go into my house all the time. I just let them roam around. Quite happy. Now, our native bees. There's heaps and heaps of these, and you'll see them flying when the Kanuka's flowering. They love Kanuka, so they'll be in there, feeding away. They love clay banks, so a cutaway clay bank, they'll be hanging out there. They make their nests in there, the females, and they collect pollen. So they're not competing outright with the honeybee, they're mainly going for pollen. They take that back, stuff it down the bottom of their hole, and then lay an egg on it, cover up the hole. So they not use social, and use social is what we talk about when we're talking about bees and ants and things like that, where they have a big hive or a big nest. But they do, I've seen places in Northland where there's thousands of them, and they're just covering the entire bank and road and everything with their nests, and they've been on gravel roads. So yeah, they're amazing. I love watching them. Their main harassment that they get is ants going down and taking out the pollen and the larvae and things like that. They're really cool suite of pollinators that we don't actually take much notice of because they're really generally small and black, and nobody likes small black ones. Oh yeah, I should have warned you, spiders. Okay, here's a couple of hunting wasps that are really quite cool, that I think they're really cool, and that you'll see out here in the Waitaki Ranges. Adults feed on nectar, so, but the females, and this is a black hunting wasp, so they're about 20, 25 mil long, and they hunt mainly spiders that live in burrows, not littered ones, but they will take trapdoor spiders. So this is a trapdoor spider, it's a native trapdoor spider. These are endemic to New Zealand, these wasps, so the black ones. They go along, paralyse it, and you see them dragging the spider back to its burrow where it's made its nest, drops it down the bottom of the nest, lays an egg, and then covers the nest up and then moves to the next one, digs a hole, goes off and gets another spider, and so forth. The other one is the golden hunting wasp. It's slightly smaller and it takes a different variety of spiders. So if you look around, there's these ground hunting spiders, so the vagrant spiders that run around all over the place, and then that feeds on that similar style, but doesn't have a burrow, just makes a nest in the old wood and stuff like that. So these are, really cool, really visible, really nice looking insects. I'm mainly stuck to sort of Hymenoptera, which is the wasp. So yeah, those are things that you see in the garden. How am I going for time?
Just about out.
No way. My goodness, my favourite beetle. Okay, so here's Nicodemus. So this is the only really, truly, with any certainty, endemic to all of the Waitaki Ranges. It's found nowhere else. However, it is one of 104 species that are spread throughout New Zealand, from the Three Kings Islands to the Snares and out to the Chathams. And so it lives its entire life in the Waitaki Ranges. So it doesn't move. It's flightless, no wings, so it walks everywhere. Now the other cool thing about this, here's some taxonomy for you. Its name is Spiniferum or Spinoferum, and it's named because there is a spine on one of the legs by the thigh. But that's only present in about 25% of the population. So anyway, it's quite large. You'll find them you'll find them out there. The adult lives for 3 to 5 years. Oh, look at that! It's a long-lived thing, and it has a memory. In that 3 to 5 years, it remembers things. If you put a pitfall trap out and you catch one of these, right, it falls in, it's live. You get it out, you mark it with a mark, and then you put it back into the forest, and then you put your pitfall traps out again. You won't catch that because it remembers.
Wow.
Exactly. Very intelligent. More intelligent than most ecologists. But not anymore. Okay. So it lives for a long time. Look, the female only lays 4 to 6 eggs in each season. How many things do that? The female cares for its eggs, cares for its larvae as well. If you disturb the burrow, it'll move its eggs and its larvae so that you can't go back and not find it again. So it remembers up here, I'm thinking. It's a predator, it's nocturnal, it'll eat anything that can get its mandibles around. And I've seen them dragging off weta under the log, they're eating skinks. But it's a really cool endemic. I've got one more, I've got a couple more slides. Or 3 more slides. Okay? So it's awesome. Here is another, we think, endemic of the Waitaki Ranges. Well, it's only been found in the Waitaki Ranges, and it's a moth. So these slides are care of Robert Hoare at Landcare, because he's a lepidoptera person. And so he named it Huia, and so it has quite a cool wingspan. So this is the male and this is the female. It was first discovered by Mr. Thompson in, he was from Titirani. He discovered it in 1953. So it's a pretty recent discovery. And then it was rediscovered by Peter Madison, and some of you might know Peter. He's that old guy with big beard, wanders around with a net, near the original site. So he collected some more, and then we think, or Robert thinks, that the female is actually longhorn beetle, like your hoo-hoo or your other beetles. No. Yep.
What's the Maori name for those endemic?
That's a very good question. And I don't know. I don't think it has any name. I think moths have a collective name, and there is some. It's like beetles. They don't have some of them have names, but most of them just have a collective name. I can't answer your question. Right.
Where particularly are they most easily seen?
These things?
Yeah.
They haven't been seen for 40 years. It's up to you guys to go out.
Well, no, we've actually seen some in the area between Kakamatua and the area where the dog beaches.
Oh, okay.
And
Something
yeah,
similar.
the reason why we don't want too many damn dogs down there, but where there have been,
they're very hard to see. go down there with the light trap and
Yeah.
try and find them. Now, the cool thing about this is the reason that Robert named it Huia is not only, there's 3 reasons why, and you're going to be astounded. Okay, the mouth parts are longer in the female than the male, just like the Huia bird. So if you look at these labial pouts here, they're sticking out like that. That's the male, short, and the female, long. That's what taxonomists love, this sort of stuff, these structures that we can name things up and get these references and comparisons going. They have the orange hindwing patch here, reminiscent of the old wattle, and then all of the specimens are found in Huia growth. So they're out there somewhere. And you guys can find them. Now the other cool thing about, has anyone got any questions? I've got one more slide. Are you raring to go, Michael?
Yeah. Can I have my time, Dave?
It's
I'm
only
good,
got,
I'm on.
it's only got boring birds.
That's all right.
It's just boring birds. Sorry, I'm cutting into big stuff. Anyway, recent found by me in Langholm is this beetle. Okay, so in COVID lockdown, I stuck out a sand trap, had other traps around the place, but this flew into it. It's the first time it's ever been reported in New Zealand. So a new suburb of Arcos tomata and cupidae. And its common name is reticulated beetle or telephone ball beetles, and these guys are ancient, a really ancient group of beetles. Never been found in New Zealand, but they're from Australia. And we think they came over in construction materials. And that's it, I think. There you go.
I don't know about you guys, but I was really inspired by that.
Yeah.
We don't often have people come along and talk about insects, because you're right, it's all about birds. I love birds, but I quite like the insects too.
All right.
But look, we're just going to ask Dave to do a draw for us for, we got Michelle? Megan Fitter. There you go. Congratulations.